Hi, I'm James and welcome to today's review, which is CP Models Rear Echelon Iraqis. Now these come in a pack of 8 15mm figures for £4, so it works out 50p each, which is quite a good price. Now they're marketed as Rear Echelon Iraqis. I'm not quite sure why Rear Echelon, particularly those wearing berets, which would probably imply more Republican Guard. You could also use them in quite a variety of ways. The two helmeted figures in particular could easily be used as Egyptian or Syrian. I can see them being usable from probably 1967 onwards, definitely in the Yom Kippur War. You can use them in other ways, and I will pick up one particularly useful bit at the end. So initially we've got two figures wearing shamars. Now these would also work well as irregular. The first figure's armed with an AK, fairly predictable one, and then we come to the second, which is carrying an RPK. I love the pose, it's a really nice one. I tend to think of this one more as, again, the irregulars, because they've got no webbing or pouches on this figure. Moving on, we have two helmeted figures. First one advancing with an RPG, I do like that pose, carrying a rucksack, which I'm assuming is being used to carry RPG ammo. Looks slightly out of shape for that, but it could be anything in there, so fair enough. And the second helmeted figure advancing with an AK, bearded, as some other figures, which is quite useful, and like a lot of the figures is wearing the Chinese Communist chest rig. That fits in nicely. We then move on to four figures with berets. First figure is standing with an RPG, and it does bring me to a little bit of a problem with the pack, in that 50% of the figures in it are carrying support weapons, which does seem a little excessive for rear echelon troops, but that's something I can live with. We then have a figure advancing with an RPK, quite a nice figure, again bearded. Yeah, I quite like this one. 7, we've got advancing with an AK. We've got two like this, two different poses, both of which have the Saddam moustache, which is a nice touch on the figure. And then we come to the last one, which is really, I suppose, my personal favourite. Advancing with the AK with the Saddam moustache again. Now the look on that figure to me reminded me an awful lot of somebody I once worked with, which is John McAleese, who a lot of people remember from being on the balcony at the Iranian embassy. Now I painted it up. You've noticed as I've probably gone through that there's a variety in the camo patterns and things I'm using, and I painted this one up with DPM jacket and effectively lightweight type trousers. Once I'd finished it and spotted the resemblance to John Mack, then I actually thought of another use for a lot of these figures, which is for role-playing games like Twilight 2000. This gives you an absolutely brilliant figure for, as it's painted, a British para with an AK. You don't get many figures with foreign weapons, so that would work particularly well for me. I can also see them working well for units such as irregular Polish units. Black Baron's army would instantly come to mind with this, and the fact that some of them have moustache and beards really works well for this. So overall, a very, very nice set, definitely in the CP model style, with that slightly cartoony look, which always seems to go away once they're painted. I don't know how they manage that. It's slightly exaggerated detail, but I like that style, it works for me. The only issue I have with it is I'd have liked slightly less support weapons, or a second pack which would instantly give you more variety. You then don't need to effectively ignore a couple of figures from each pack because of the support weapon issue. You could, I suppose, if you're using them for something like Team Yankee, they could be based up in a 4, 2 AKs, 1 RPK, 1 RPG. That would work relatively well. You couldn't build a large force, probably, because there'd be a lot of duplication, but I think that would work. You could even, I suppose, mix in a couple of Russian figures for variety. But definitely a nice pack. Don't regret buying it, and I'll probably be picking up a couple more just to extend it. And hopefully soon you'll actually see these figures in action. I'm planning a video on a solo game called Battle Space, and these are absolutely perfect for it, along with the British Bravo 20 pack from the same range. So hope you found that useful. See you soon for another review.